Today we're broadcasting from St. Petersburg, Florida, the site of the Secular Islam Summit. This is where Muslims and former Muslims have come to, at least according to the brochure, bring about a new age of enlightenment to the Islamic world. Sounds like a noble cause, but critics say the summit isn't legitimate because many of the participants here are not practicing Muslims. The summit organizers, on the other hand, say that's a good thing. They say that this summit isn't about religion, it's about human rights, it's about bringing together the thinkers and the activists who are most interested in generating new ideas, bringing them. Joining me now is a former terrorist and author of The Roots of Jihad, Dr. Tawfik Hamid. Also Ahmed Bedier, he is from the Council of American Islamic Relations. Both of you, welcome to the program. Glad to have both of you on.
Pleasure to be with you.
Let's start with the criticism. Why is this not a message that you want people to hear?
Tremendous reform is needed for Muslims. However, in order to have legitimate and a reform in the Muslim world, you need to have the right messengers doing that. You need to have people who love and are concerned about the Muslim faith and the Islamic faith in order to give it legitimacy. The concern that we have about this summit is that it's being organized and the majority of the speakers here are atheists or anti-Muslim people and are taking the opportunity to just simply bash Islam without offering solutions. In order to have a legitimate dialogue, you need to bring the players to the table, the Muslim organizations, the Muslim clergy that are already here in America, to be able to bring that message.
Okay, I find reason in that argument. I have talked to many of the people. I've spent the last couple of days talking to many of the people. I have to tell you, when I'm introduced to a former terrorist, my eyebrows go up. But I've enjoyed talking to you, and you don't seem like somebody who hates Islam. I have met some that don't have respect for Islam. I have found other Muslims who love it and just want reform. How do you respond to that?
My response to this is that, number one, the truth should be independent, whoever says it. If I say to you 1 + 1 = 2, it doesn't make a difference if I'm a believer or not a believer. This is number one. Number two, the summit includes many people who truly love Islam. I'm doing this because I love Islam. I'm declaring a war only on the violent aspects of Salafi Islam, which, as I'm sure you know about, things like killing the apostate, beating women, and stoning women to death, and which is practiced till now in countries that apply Sharia law like Saudi Arabia. And it will be wonderful if you tell us now your position and the position of CARE organization from the practices of Saudi Arabia of these things like killing the apostate, which is not written in the Quran, but is written in Hadith al-Bukhari, "Man baddala dinahu faqtiluhu," whoever convert, you kill him. Beating women and stoning women to death.
I'll be glad to do that. There's CARE's history, and Muslim organizations and clergy in America have denounced any type of killing because somebody leaves the faith. That's very clear.
So you denounce Saudi Arabia?
Let me finish. The Quran says in chapter 2, verse 256, there's no coercion in religion. The whole concept about Islam is to make people free to practice whatever they want. No God is going to want you to be forced to believe in something. The issue here is secular Islam and who are the organizers behind this. You're coming to my town. I live in St. Petersburg, Florida. Yeah. Nobody's engaging the Muslim leadership that's already organized. You're not from this country. When you come to a country and you want to have dialogue about Islam, guess what? You're going to have to join and engage the Muslim community because that's the community you're trying to reform. It doesn't make sense to go talk about reforming Islam with atheists, fundamentalist Christians, and Jews and others.
Hang on, but let me ask you this question. There is a concerted effort to silence the voices that are crying out. Women in Saudi, will you condemn Saudi Arabia? Will you condemn Saudi Arabia for
ask President Bush to condemn Saudi Arabia.
No,
I'm asking you.
No, I will condemn an entire nation. I will condemn the un-Islamic practices of specific people.
So is it un-Islamic what is happening in Saudi Arabia? Is un-Islamic? This I want to hear from you.
Of course, denying a woman's right. Okay, let's get back. This show here is not about Saudi Arabia, but let's get to the issue.
Wait, no, let's not.
Clear answer.
Wait a minute. Let's not get back to it in a second. This is the fundamental principle. I agree with you on that you've got to fight it from within inside.
Yeah.
So you've got a great point there. But there's also a concerted effort to silence the voice of people who stand up and say, you don't beat women. And any country Saudi Arabia, let's just use it as an example. Will you condemn Saudi Arabia for the Sharia law that is practiced where it is stoning of women, where they allow beating of women?
We condemn any nation, country, or group that use Islam or misuse and misinterpret Islam in violent ways. But we're not going to sit here and put me on the spot to condemn an entire nation of people with millions of people. And it would be like saying, oh, do you want to condemn London because of their actions, or Iran or other places? You can't alienate everybody in those nations. There's plenty of reformers and progressive people that are trying.
We're not, you know what, this is great, because we had this conversation with Tony Snow. I had this conversation, and he said, I will not condemn the country of Iran. And I said, not asking you to, will you, and he did, will you say that the government of Iran is evil? That will you say that the government of Iran
I would not say that the government of Saudi Arabia is evil, or the entire government of Egypt is evil, or Jordan is evil. You can't just simply use a broad brushstroke like that to condemn an entire nation. You have to, but they need help. They need reform. They need democracy. They need freedom. Legitimate voices, not atheists, not from Muslim bashers.
Are you a Muslim basher?
No, I am a Muslim, and I am supporting a new understanding of Islam. And I would like to mention clearly that I was the first person to create a website called IslamicReformation.com. It was the first time in history to have something like this. And I was clear in this website, which I was not able to continue because I was not able to get enough funds to continue it. And I started a smaller website called MuslimsForHumanRights.org, where I reinterpreted the Quranic verses in a new manner that does not allow killing the apostate, that does not allow beating women, that does not allow calling Jews pigs
and monkeys. That's already happening, sir.
You didn't do this in CARE organization.
We've done it.
And I am asking you to have clear stand against these fundamental concepts that are written in most of the Islamic books. Till now, we don't have a single interpretation of the Quran that stands clearly in an unambiguous manner against killing the apostate or beating a woman or calling Jews pigs and monkeys. I want you to mention me one single Quranic interpretation or tafsir that stood clearly against the concept.
First of all, sir, let's get to the issues, okay? The Quran is in the same form as it was revealed to Prophet Muhammad. The only version, true nature of the Quran is in the Arabic language. If you have an issue with that, then you can go on and you can try to reinterpret the Quran. You're free to do whatever you want, but don't come to a summit and say we're going to have a debate about secular Islam and not organize it by Muslims. Don't have a summit.
I'm a Muslim. Who told me?
According to your book, you said you are Muslim by birth, you are Christian by spirit, you're Jewish by heart.
Do you know why?
You wrote that.
Do you know why?
That's not a definition of a practicing Muslim.
You should ask me why.
I don't want to ask you why.
Because,
I want to ask you
okay,
why.
Go ahead.
Why? Because I'm a Muslim by birth. That is a reality. Christian by the Spirit, there is a verse in the Quran that says, وَأَيَّدْنَاهُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ. God sent His Holy Spirit to support His Prophet. So the concept of having the Holy Spirit of Christianity to support you is there in the Quran. And Jew by birth, Jew by heart, because the word Jew in the Quran was given to the Jews when they returned back to God. They said, إِنَّا هُدْنَا إِلَيْكَ, which means returned back to you. And anyone who returned back to God could be considered a Jew in Arabic language.
Okay.
So there is no contradiction.
The main point about the summit here is that the funding for this is not coming from you. It's coming from a specific group of people from the Intelligence Summit. The Intelligence Summit is a group of neoconservatives and private intelligence agencies that are benefiting from the war on terrorism. And opportunists like yourself and others at this event are bashing and cashing and making money from it.
Thank you for being very
You're welcome. I'm being truthful.
I have met with several of the people. I have met with CARE, and I have met with several of the people here. I think everyone's agenda here on both sides is to find a peaceful solution to what we are facing. Back in a minute.